A phone rings in your backyard. You check your pocket. Not yours. You check the house. Nobody's home. It rings again, closer now, and you follow it to the hedge by the fence line, and there's nothing there. No phone, no speaker, no person. Then, from the exact same branch, a car alarm goes off. Then a dog barks, twice, sharp. Then, so help me, a screen door creaks open, a door that doesn't exist anywhere near your yard. You're not losing your mind. You're standing 3 feet from a single gray bird the size of your fist, and everything you just heard came out of its throat. It's not broken. It's not confused. It's doing exactly what it was built to do. And by the end of this video, you're never going to hear your backyard the same way again. Welcome to Garden Bird Secrets. If this is your first time here, hit subscribe, because what you're about to hear will change the way you hear your own backyard. That bird is a northern mockingbird, and what's living inside it is closer to a sound archive than a song. 200 separate recordings, cataloged, replayed, updated for life. Today, I'll show you how big that archive really gets, how it never stops growing, and why some of what it's playing back isn't even a bird sound at all. But stay for the ending. Because the real reason it's out there singing has almost nothing to do with what you think. And once you hear it, you're going to look at that bird completely differently. Its scientific name is Mimus polyglottos. Translated, that's many-tongued mimic. Somebody handed this bird that name centuries before anyone had the tools to prove it deserved it. They were right anyway. What researchers have confirmed since then goes further than the name even dares to suggest. Here's the number. Researchers at the Cornell Lab of Ornithology have documented male mockingbirds learning and retaining up to 200 distinct songs over a lifetime. Not 200 notes. 200 full songs, many lifted wholesale from other species. Jays, killdeer, orioles, even hawks. Stitched into one uninterrupted set that can run 20 seconds or longer without a single repeat. Most backyard songbirds work with a handful of songs, sung the same way, year after year. This bird is operating on a completely different scale, closer to a radio station than a single voice. In your yard, this means the bird you've been hearing isn't stuck on a loop. It's pulling from an archive, one you probably didn't know existed, and it's bigger than almost anything else in your yard's soundscape. A woman in Austin called her cable company 3 separate times, convinced her landline had a fault. She kept hearing it ring with no call ever coming through. A technician finally traced it. It wasn't the line. It was a mockingbird in the oak outside her kitchen window, running its archive one more time. She never did get the ringtone out of that tree. Eventually, she just started answering it, as a joke, until the joke started feeling less like one. Most songbirds lock their songs in young and never touch the collection again. Learn it once, sing it for life. Case closed. The mockingbird refuses to do that. A 2020 study in the journal Ethology found mockingbirds keep adding new material well into adulthood, what researchers call open-ended learning, and it's rare enough among songbirds that it's practically the mockingbird's signature move. Relocate one to a new neighborhood, and within a single season, it's weaving in sounds it had never encountered before it arrived. Move a banded bird from one coast to the other, and its set list starts changing before the season is even out. In your yard, this means the bird outside your window right now isn't finished. The set list you're hearing this spring is a draft. It's still listening, it's still writing. And it will not sound the same next year, not because it's forgotten anything, but because it never stopped adding to the file. A mockingbird structures its set with real discipline, each phrase repeated 2 to 6 times before it snaps to the next one, like a DJ working through a set list rather than a bird just making noise. Field research on how it sequences those phrases, published in the Journal of Field Ornithology, found the pattern is anything but random. And the source material isn't limited to birds. Car alarms, squeaky hinges, barking dogs, somebody's piano, if it's within earshot long enough. If a sound holds still and repeats, the bird can learn it, file it, and play it back on command, sometimes years later. In your yard, this means that malfunctioning smoke detector chirp you keep hearing at odd hours might never have been a smoke detector at all. One homeowner in Florida spent an entire evening convinced 3 different birds were fighting over his fence line. A jay, then what sounded exactly like a hawk, then something like a rusty gate swinging shut. It was one bird, same branch, under 3 minutes. He didn't believe it until he watched the throat move every single time the sound changed underneath it. None of this is performance for its own sake. Research summarized in the Birds of North America account from the Cornell lab shows a bigger repertoire does 2 jobs at once for a male mockingbird. It holds a territory against rivals, and it signals to a mate that he's experienced enough to be worth choosing. The older, more established males tend to carry the biggest libraries. The archive itself is a kind of resume, built up 1 season at a time, and every rival on the block can hear exactly how long he's been running that yard. In your yard, this means that marathon performance on your fence post isn't noise. It's a case being made, out loud, on repeat, for anyone listening, including birds you'll never even see. A birder in South Carolina once tracked the same male mockingbird for an entire breeding season, logging every phrase he could identify. By August, the bird's set included 11 other species, a car alarm, and, the birder swears to this, 3 bars of a wind chime hanging 2 yards over. He never confirmed it was the wind chime and not an actual chime ringing somewhere close by. That's the thing about this bird. Once you start listening for it, you stop trusting your own ears. Lose a mate, and a male mockingbird can triple his song output almost overnight, every bit of that archive suddenly getting used at once. Don't have a mate yet, and he'll often sing straight through the night, especially under a streetlight, where the artificial glow seems to convince his body it's still daytime, and there's no reason to stop. Cornell lab data confirms this bird is the only backyard species in North America that reliably does this, hour after hour, until sunrise. In your yard, this means that 2 a.m. concert under your bedroom window isn't a glitch, and it isn't him losing his mind. That's not aggression, and it isn't a nuisance either. That's loyalty with feathers, working a shift nobody asked it to work, for someone who hasn't shown up yet. A man in a Nashville suburb once emailed a local birding group ready to call animal control on the bird outside his window at 3 a.m. Somebody wrote back with one line, "That bird isn't trying to annoy you. It just hasn't found anyone to sing to yet." He never called animal control. He says he still hears it most nights, and he doesn't mind anymore. Here's the part I promised you. All of it. The phone, the alarm, the 100 borrowed voices stacked into one performance. None of it is aimed at you. It's aimed at rivals, and at a mate who might be listening from somewhere you'll never see. That bird isn't singing for the guy standing at the grill with a beer in his hand. But here's what changes everything. Researchers at the University of Florida, in a study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, found that mockingbirds in yards just like yours learn to recognize specific individual humans, not people in general, you specifically. After as few as 2 encounters, a mockingbird will react to you differently than it does to a total stranger standing in the exact same spot, wearing the exact same clothes. Same shirt, same walk, same time of day. Doesn't matter. It knows the difference. It has always known the difference. So, no, that song wasn't written for you. It was never about you. But somewhere behind those 200 borrowed voices, the bird singing them already knows exactly who you are, every single time it sees you cross the yard. It clocked you long before you ever noticed it back. If you've ever felt like that bird was keeping tabs on you, you weren't wrong. You never were. You just finally caught it listening. Tell me what you saw. I read every one of these. I'll see you in the yard.